for you, and it's always a lot of fun. It's always great to see. There are some amazing players here, just like the players you see before you. One of the best Zergs and the best Protoss in Latin America. Let's go. Oh boy, because spawning in as I quickly need to, there we go, beautiful. Spawning in the top right hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself. He is blue, representing Team Super, the best Protoss in all of Latino America. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres ALE, we have the other Mexican player. He is the Mexican Zerg player representing Estral Esports. It's the papi himself. It is Arturo Duran Silencio, JimRising. I missed the word there. Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio. Let's go. That's his full name, by the way. Jaime JimRising. Jamie, if you're from the English regions. But yeah, here we go. It's great to see JimRising returning. I mentioned it earlier, but he did take a bit of a break from StarCraft, and I didn't know how long that break would be, but thankfully it is not too long. Thankfully he has returned to us, and we'll see how warmed up he is after coming back to the game. Again, if you want to tune into JimRising's POV, he is streaming over on his own Twitch channel to his own Spanish audience, but he has a titan ahead of him. Again, Pacomike, when it comes to Protoss in Latin America, it's hard to get better than Pacomike right now. Master wants to put that to contention. Master is another great player, don't get me wrong, but Pacomike, I feel like, still has he still owns that crown, I should say. But we'll see if he can keep it, because right now we are in a PvZ, and Pacomike has a very unique style of PvZ. I don't think I've seen him go for the hero style, go for triple Oracle into Blink Stalker, you know? Pacomike, he's more of a Glaive Adept kind of guy. He's more of a charge all in, or even Sky Toss, you know? He's got his own way of playing. He's kind of stuck in his ways. He's an old man. I love you, Pacomike. I love you. So we'll see if he has adapted. Likewise, I have to say the same for JimRising, because historically, JimRising, his weakest matchup has been ZVP. Fun fact: ZVP last season actually caused, or last year, actually caused JimRising to switch to Protoss. Like Maru and like Raynor, sorry, before Maru and before Raynor, there was Jim. He was the original switcher into Protoss in tournaments. Specifically, JimRising would play Protoss against Zerg because double Stargate Void Ray was fun to him. and he beat Cham, he beat Eric, he beat literally every Zerg player in the region with his Protoss. It was disgusting. At least once, I should say, at least once. Ay. Meanwhile, decent surround here with his Lings, forces Pacomike all the way back. Pacomike did go for a Stargate opener, is going for an Oracle first. And this is where I'm a little bit excited, you know? This is kind of telegraphing to us, maybe he does want to go triple Oracle, maybe he does want to go into Blink Stalkers. I haven't seen Pacomike try the hero style yet, but maybe that changes today. Maybe. We shall see. As the first Oracle is moving out across the map, second Oracle behind this as well. The second Oracle ideally should be rallied towards the third base, so a Ling run by can't deny it. Speaking of, Lings are going to be checking the bases, going to be checking the timing of the third. SimCity is good enough though. Pacomike should be able to keep this alive just barely. Very last second pylon there, able to force some SimCity. Looks like the Adept is going to go down though. So again, the second Oracle is going to have to come here to clean this up. At the same time, the first Oracle gets across the map, is going to get a couple of drones. Oh my god, but he's sacking it? 4 drones for an Oracle. Not ideal. The second Oracle does clean up those Lings. But it looks like Pacomike did shift queue his first Oracle across the map, and I don't think that was worth it. It is a triple Oracle opener, by the way. But the power of triple Oracle is that you keep all 3 of them alive. And then you have map control, you can clean up Ling run-bys, you can dive on Queens, you can clear creep. Like, Oracles have so much utility in this matchup now. But a lot of that utility is gone. Oof. He does still have 2 oracles, don't get me wrong, and that's not the worst thing, but losing the first one is a nice win for JimRising. He has a lot less to worry about now. Meanwhile, we have a transition into a Twilight Council and Forge for +1, so it is going to be ground toss. All the gases have been taken. This should be for Blink. This should be for +1. Or +1 Blink Stalkers, I should say. Meanwhile, I love this from JimRising. He's going for +1 melee. Looking at his vision, he doesn't quite know what he's up against, but +1 melee does mean that he can go into a fast +2, which means that he can prioritize Ling Bane as his army of choice. He does still have a safety Roach one on the way, and Ling Bane Roach Ravager isn't a bad composition either, but oh my god! Of course. Mate, who am I casting? It's Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio, papi. It's JimRising, the Muta King himself. He is going for the Spire, he's going for Mutas. You'll love to see it. So obviously Ling Bane does complement Mutas really well. We want to save as much gas as possible for the Mutas. All 6 gases have been taken for JimRising. Again, he knows how to make Mutas work effectively in this matchup, and it's a sight to behold. Especially if it goes unscouted. Speaking of, we do see a double hallucinated scout going into the main base and the natural as well. Quick checking the vision. He does confirm Spire is on the way. We did have a Stargate opener, so Pacomike should be going into Phoenixes. We'll see. Meanwhile, cannons are being thrown down in the mineral lines left and right. There we go. Second Stargate there is the Phoenix production on the way. So Pacomike is responding well to what he scouted. And now JimRising has a choice to make. JimRising knows he got scouted. He knows that Pacomike saw him. Is he going to go Mutas anyway? Nice pick off there by JimRising. He will get one of those steps. At the same time, though, the main army of Pacomike is pushing out across the map. This is before Blink. This is before +1. But he has all of these stasis traps. He has all of these sentries. JimRising will lose this base. Very awkward, very uncommon timing attack here for Pacomike, but it works very well. I love it. He even soaks up all of those broodlings to make sure the stasis trap doesn't go off. And he's going to keep on pushing. Now, Mutas will clean this up, the Mutaling, but like getting a base like this, it's a great move by Pacomike. Oh, but he has to be careful not to overstay as well. But here we go. We do have a recall, and we'll lose one of those sentries on the way out. But one sentry and a stalker for a base? Man, that's some value there for Pacomike. Here we go. JimRising immediately going for a counterattack. He's going to try and get some damage done here. Again, he's still committed to the Mutas. He's making more Mutas behind this. He has +1 flyer attack on the way as well. And yo, the Lings, they bust on in. And there was no cannon at the natural? Question mark. But we may not need them because the Phoenixes will be able to come out. They do get dove on. But 9 workers do fall in the process. And yo, JimRising, he even fights the Stalkers. The charges popped as well. Oh, a lot of these Mutas are going down. JimRising, this is not a fight you want to take, but he was forced to because of the Phoenixes. Loses a lot of Mutas. Looking at the units lost tab, 9 Mutas went down. Oof. That's not something you want to be seeing here. And JimRising is not backing off. Kind of. He does have 5 more Mutas on the way, so he wants a Muta presence to harass, which is great. And he's transitioning into a Hydra Den. So he recognizes the Phoenix count is high, and it's going to get higher, and it's going to eventually kill all my Mutas, but I still need to keep my opponent busy. I still need to keep him unawares of what's really happening as he does switch into Hydras. There we go. Hydra speed on the way. These Mutas, they have a lot of work to do. Again, they don't have to necessarily deal damage. They just have to keep Pacomike's attention at home. Meanwhile, oh my god, I love the patrol of this hallucination. The Mutas have been spotted, and Pacomike can now respond in kind. Own Phoenixes are on the way. JimRising has to rotate around towards the right-hand side instead. Meanwhile, ooh, a Fleet Beacon is thrown down. This is a great move here from Pacomike. He has double Stargate anyway. Why not start to go into Sky Toss? As we do have Anion Pulse Crystals being researched, so that is Phoenix range. Thankfully, he did stop Phoenix production. He's content with what he has, and what he has is 10 Phoenixes. Isn't overcommitting, is focusing a little bit more on his ground army instead. He's not taking the bait. And JimRising still hasn't really done too much with these mutas. Here we go, mutas, they dive on in. They're going to pick up a couple of stalkers here and there, but 3 stalkers in the end, only 3 for a couple of mutas. Meanwhile, +1 range is on the way, Carapace, Baneling speed, so Ling Bane Hydra is the army composition of choice. We do see that JimRising isn't rushing into lurkers. I don't know if, is that a good thing? I mean, he already has +2 melee, so I don't think lurkers are necessary in this situation, especially against Blink Stalkers. If we saw like Immortals and Archons, there's a bigger argument for lurkers, but right now I think JimRising is okay with what he has. And with what he has, he's maxed out. Meanwhile, 6 more drones do go down here at the 3rd base. Mutas are flying all the way into main. At the same time, Baneling run by towards the 4th base. Do we have a reaction? Ah, Paco, no! The Banelings roll on in. Oh my god, the recall is a little bit too late. The Banelings crash into everything. Meanwhile, at the same time, the mutas did get worker kills here in the main base and in the natural. Oh my god. 34 probes go down. That's a lot of probes. And again, JimRising doesn't care about his mutas. He wants to get rid of them. And that's exactly what he does. 38 probes go down. JimRising with a massive economic advantage. He's even double expanding behind this. Ultra Caverns thrown down. Pathogen Glands on the way. He can transition into Ultras, into anything he wants. Oh, but we have a little bit of a pause. Oh my god. Oh. And honestly, I think I need a little bit of a pause after what we just saw. A lot has been going on. JimRising with a massive economic lead. He did lose a lot of supply doing that though, and he has to rebuild. Oh.
Game resumed.
And he's back. The question for me is, what is he going to round out his army with? Because he has Lingbane Hydra, but he's investing into Ultra upgrades, so I guess he wants to go into Ultras instead, or Infestors, or both. When is the question? Because he could be looking to do so after the first fight. Oh, here we go. Baneling run by once again. One headed towards the 4th, another towards the 3rd. I love this one here. It's going to be drawing the attention away of the main army. Oh my god, he does get in! At the same time, force fields get thrown down in time. This time, Pacomike is much more prepared. Still loses 13 probes though. And JimRising, again, I'm waiting. What's the plan? He's even working on +2 fire attack, by the way. Interesting. There it is. Ultras are coming out, Infestors as well. So Ultra, Hydra, Lingbane, Infestor. A little bit of everything, but it does kind of work together in a way. Obviously, these Hydras aren't ideal. Instead of Hydras, Corruptors would be a little bit better. The Hydras do kind of get in the way of the Ultras. So I think JimRising knows that, and he wants to get rid of them. That's why he has +2 fire attack now. Meanwhile, the Hydra's a little bit out of position. The main army of Pacomike rotating towards the southern side of the map does reveal himself on creep. Everything has to come back. Oof. This is an army you gotta respect. Storm is done, by the way, but Storm is only gonna tickle these Ultras. Kindness plating has finished up. The fungal! The fungal! The fungal! Oh my god, every single High Templar does get fungled. Is it gonna be enough? The Lings do rush on in the Banelings as well. Only 2 High Templar remaining. And they're forced to morph into these Archons. We have the trap has been set. It has been sprung. The Ultras get on top of almost everything. Great fight there from JimRising, but at the same time, that wasn't all of Pacomike's army. The base is going to go down, not just the base, but also 23 workers. Oh my god. So again, this still could go either way. The Infestors don't have that much energy. We're going to be seeing a full surround. Storm is going to be able to help here in the retreat. We do have a couple of feedbacks being thrown down. Here we go. The Feasts do dive on top of the Spellcasters. The Hydras even. Everything. And JimRising is being pulled apart right now. Like, the Gateway army of Pacomike is just a little bit too strong. Ultras are going to be able to hold the line here on the left-hand side. But JimRising, he's going to lose the base. he's just not where he needs to be. The base is going to go down. Same with all these workers, but the supplies tell a different story. 4 ultras are in production. They're still in production, but once they come, look at all these ultras. How many ultras does he have? He has 10. We have 6 on the field and 4 in production. What the hell? But he will lose another base and 19 more workers again. JimRising, he's struggling right now when it comes to his bases, when it comes to his production. But he's not struggling when it comes to his army. 10 ultras. 10. Oh my god. JimRising is going to be able to deny the 5th. He doesn't overextend. He doesn't go towards the 4th. I respect it. I like it. JimRising double expanding behind this. He doesn't want to throw away his lead. And right now, this is quite a lead. Again, this is a beefy army. But ultras don't shoot up. And that fleet beacon from earlier is coming into play. Carriers are starting. We have +3 air attack. So JimRising is also getting ready for a corruptor switch if he needs it. If he needs it. Boy, Pacomike pushing onto creep once again. 4 High Templar, plenty of energy for Storm. Storm doesn't really do too much against these ultras, but ooh, Immortals are coming out. And ultras have a hard time fighting off of creep. Pacomike looking to expand towards the top left instead. JimRising is rotating around just to check, just to confirm the base. He does see it. He is looking to try and deny it. But he needs to scout this. He needs to scout the Sky Toss. If he doesn't, he's going to be caught off guard. And the last thing JimRising wants is to max out without anti-air. Oh, ultras are going to find a lot of workers here on the top left. At the same time, Zealot Rumbite gets intercepted by the ultras of JimRising as well. Ooh, a bit of a recall is going to save a lot of the workers. But again, JimRising is doing a great job at starving him out. Oh my god! The first carrier goes down. Pacomike with a missed rally. Oh no. Yeah, one of the Stargates is rallied across the map. The other is rallied at home. Because of the missed rally, now JimRising knows about the Sky Toss. There we go. +1 air defense, air carapace is on the way. He's still making more ultras, and I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, but I guess he doesn't need corruptors yet. Oh boy. Here we go. The ultras are trying to dive on top of this army. Oh my god, the Fungals go down as well, locking down the army of Pacomike. The carriers are revealing themselves. There are a handful of Hydras, and they're going to help out for the time being. But again, corruptors should be on the way. Ultras, they clean up everything on the ground. Not just the army on the ground. They break on through. They take down the 5th base. They're going to be able to maybe even take down the 4th. Oh god, they're trying. Ugh. Overcharge is a little bit too good. There we go. 13 corruptors are on the way. But that was an expensive trade for JimRising. Thankfully, he has 101 workers. That's a lot of workers. Oh my god. JimRising forced all the way back. A lot of his army is in production right now, so JimRising may have to give up a base, but giving up a base is an okay thing to do, especially when you have 101 workers. Oh my god, the Fungals! Oh, would you have the Fungals going down? The Corruptors are coming out now as we speak. Ah, is it gonna be enough? And it looks like it is. Pacomike was pretty committed with this, but oh, Zealot Rumbite gets 24 drones. At the cost of all these carriers, though. And it looks like despite the efforts of Pacomike, and he's done a great job at harassing this game, economically, he never got a 5th. He could never expand here towards the top left or the bottom right. He never got another base up and running. And his economy is struggling because of it. He just doesn't have that much income. He doesn't have that many workers. He cannot rebuild. No, he can go. You know who can, though? Old mate Jim. Jim, he just checked the top left. He's like, oh, there's nothing here. Let's go check the bottom right, okay. Oh, there's nothing here either. Oh, we do have a base on the way. But again, JimRising knows that his win condition is just to deny the 5th. He just has to constantly focus on denying the 5th, denying the 5th, and denying the 5th over and over and over again.
Field exhausted.
And here we go, JimRising, he's diving on in. He finds the Nexus on the way, and Pacomike knows he has to cancel. There's just no way for him to hold on here. And that, like, JimRising never really has to attack the 4th if he doesn't want to. Pacomike, he's just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. What can he do? If he moves out, he dies. If he stays home, he also dies. He knows that he needs to take a 5th, and I guess he's in position here to protect it. But if JimRising collapsed, I don't know if Pacomike can hold on. 3 carriers, he does have storms. Storms can maybe help. What we really need is stack defense. Pylon is on the way. We need shield batteries. We need cannons. JimRising is giving Pacomike some time. Oh, but he's getting ready. Banelings are being morphed in as well. JimRising's still droning. Ah. Oh, Zelda's gonna pull the attention. Oh my god. The ultras can't get in. The ultras can't stop it. The ultras are stuck. They're too fat. They're too thick. The one zealot that could, in the face of an army of ultras, he got 5 drone kills. And Pacomike, he's getting shield batteries. But it may not matter. Here we go. JimRising finally diving on in. Storms are going to collapse on a lot of these corruptors. But the ultras don't give a damn about your storms, and neither do the corruptors. Carriers are going down. Overdrive is going to try and keep the carrier alive. It's not good enough. GG gets called, and JimRising takes game number 1. That was game 1. Damn. This is going to be quite a series. This is quite a series. GG, well played. Pacomike, though, still has a chance here in this series. He can still fight back. He can still make it to the grand finals. He just has to win the next game. All right, let's catch up in the chat. Oh my god. Exclamation mark Funada live VIP for missing me. Hey! Hello for shirts. Hello. God, not just for shirts. I saw ARJ Skater in the chat as well. Dastan, Pacomike, Wood Melting. The Zerglord sounds like a Serral ult account. I think the Zerglord was around before Serral. I think it's. I'm gonna have to check that. Oh my god. But I see Super Kaito in the chat. Which TSL qualifiers are today? China and Oceania. Oh. And that will be later on. Oh. Ultra, but no queen. What the hell is this? This is JimRising, papi. Who needs queens when you have 101 drones and the economy to sustain reproducing ultras? Right? He could afford to lose them. He could afford to throw a couple of them away, papi. A couple. So yeah, honestly, that was a long game, and that was a really well thought out game for JimRising. The harassment, the run bys, the muta switch into the hydras, into the ultras, into the infestors. Like, again, he was constantly keeping Pacomike on his toes, and that is how you have to play ZVP. That's how you have to play a Zerg, you know, for a lot of the matchups, mainly this one, to be fair. It was great to see. His decision to not press on with his offensive after taking such a blow to his hatcheries is going to be his undoing. I mean, kind of. Like, again, we were alluding to it in the cast, but the win condition for Jim was just deny the 5th. Just keep denying the 5th, the 5th, the 5th. That's all you have to do if you have map control. And that's what JimRising had. JimRising had, what, 7 bases? Like, he had enough of an economy to sustain himself, and all he had to do was deny the economy of his opponent. It does kind of mean that the game drags on a little bit longer, right? Because it's like death by 1,000 blows. It's a slow death for the Protoss, but it's a death that JimRising was okay with, you know. Because the last thing you want to do is push into a defensive position where there are more cannons, where there are more shield batteries, where it's a little bit more awkward to engage. Speaking about the 3rd or the 4th. But we'll see how we go here, as we are now going into one of the smaller maps in the map pool. We are going to be loading in to Berlingrad. All right. Here we go. We are diving into the second game of this best of 3 semifinals match, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself representing Team Super. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Mexican Zerg player himself. He is purple, representing Estral Esports, currently leading this series 1-0. It is JimRising. And again, we had a pretty dynamic back and forth game there earlier. And I wouldn't be surprised if we go all the way to the ace match. I want this to go to the ace match. I want Pacomike to fight back and to bring it all the way to game 3. Can he do it though? We shall see. He struggled a little bit there in the previous game, going for that more ground toss style. I feel like the transition to sky toss was a little bit late. It didn't help that he threw away his first carrier, but I don't think that was like a game losing move. Again, it just took a while for him to take to the skies, I feel. Either the transition into the sky toss or a transition into a more immortal heavy composition. Something that can deal with the ultras. Because, let's be honest, there was never a real answer to those ultras. There were Blink Stalkers, Archons, and Storm, you know? Like, that's why the ultras could reign free. Oh boy. We'll see how this goes. So far, hatch gas pool opener from JimRising. You'd love to see it. Everything is looking pretty standard. Same can be said for Pacomike. But on a map like this, I wouldn't be surprised if Pacomike tried to go for something like either Glaive Adepts or Charge. Specifically, not a Stargate opener. Well, we'll see though. We'll see. As the Cybercore does finish up here in the end, first Adept is going to be on the way. Just to harass, just to be a little bit more annoying. And Pacomike, his tech of choice is going to be a Stargate. Okay. More of the same, kind of what we expect to see. Nothing too crazy, nothing too out of the norm. So first Adept is going to be going across the map, going to be trying to, you know, deal a little bit of damage. It shouldn't really be able to, especially against one Adept. JimRising should be able to keep his drones safe and sound. I should. We'll see. As Pacomike also confirms the third base on the way for JimRising, so he knows it's not like a 2-base win or anything like that. He goes in and he confirms the drone count, and ooh, does get 1 kill. Oh my god. Oh, it's a second. Oh god, the movement for this Adept is disgusting, by the way. 3 drone kills. Well worth it for one Adept. I don't know if you noticed, but Pacomike, he would attack and he was hugging those workers to make it that much more awkward for them to actually turn into spores. Really nice movement there by Pacomike, getting the most he could out of one Adept. Meanwhile, Lings are coming across the map. If the second Adept was waddling across the map, then it would be caught out by the Speedlings. Thankfully, it was here at home, so Pacomike is safe and sound on 2 bases. His Adept is on hold position. And this is a little bit different here because we have a Void Ray opener instead. So Pacomike is less concerned with dealing damage, less concerned with being active. He is going to get map control by clearing out these overlords, or at least one of them. And he's going straight into Glaives. Ooh. This is what we were talking about. Glaives is on the way. 4 gates, 5 gates in total. Oh, and this needs to get scouted. This could be devastating if JimRising doesn't realize what's going on. Again, the Void Ray opener is already a little bit sus. The likelihood of this being Blink Stalkers is now lower because of that. Lings do confirm the third base are going to be able to force a little bit of a delay here. Adepts are slowly being morphed in. Oh, 6 gates in total. Oh my god! Oh, but 2 of the Adepts do get surrounded. It looks like maybe 1 Adept. No, 0 Adepts go down. This is a little bit of a tell. We do have a Roach Warren on the way here for JimRising, and that will help, but we don't have creep connecting the bases. Oh, and this is very committed, by the way. I don't think Pacomike even intended to get a third. Okay, he will get one anyway. And bearing in mind that this is without a robo, so no warp prism. We're going to warp in all the adepts at home, and then they're going to shade across the map. Ay. Again, the adept count is being spotted here by JimRising. He knows he needs roaches right now. Droning is the last thing that he can do. Oh my god. And in total, we have 15 adepts coming across the map. This did take a while though, and JimRising did have a lot of time to respond and actually get roaches. 12 more roaches in production. But can they keep up with these adepts? That's going to be the real question. As the adepts do dive on in towards the third base, it looks like they will not get the queen, but they do commit to the shade, going all the way into the natural. And oh, drones are starting to go down. Uh-oh. 10 drones already. The roaches are here at the natural, but we do see a shade into the main base. And once again, the roaches are not where they need to be. More lost mine time. 12 drones going down now. The adepts are slowly being cleaned up. Oh, slowly though. And it looks like finally JimRising will be able to deal with all of this. 14 drone kills. This isn't the worst thing. This is better for Pacomike because he does have the worker advantage. But because all the adepts died, Jim can go for a counterattack. Ideally, if you're a Protoss player, you shade in, you deal you deal damage, and then you shade out. And ideally, you keep the Zerg at home for as long as possible. Pacomike slipped up a little bit there, and with the death of all of that, I mean, JimRising is going for a massive counterattack. Can it do too much though? We'll see. We'll see. Looks like Jim wants to come in from multiple angles here. Roaches without a shield battery, they can focus down the adept, and then the lings, they can flood on into the mineral line. Oh, he almost gets it, but Pacomike is quick to respond. Stalkers were already morphed in. Not just Stalkers, but also the sentries at the same time. 2 adepts get across the map, and hey, more drones are going down. Ooh. 4, 5 drones. And now Pacomike has taken the worker lead. This is terrifying. JimRising, again, doing what he does best. He does prioritize his gases. With 6 gases, he can facilitate muta production, so he wants to go into mutas. And I think this is an okay move. 13 mutas are on the way. I think this is okay. I think this can definitely deal damage. It has to deal damage though. Like, it's crucial that it does. Ling's poking in, trying to be a little bit annoying here. So far, the Spire has not been scouted. Pacomike isn't ready for this. He doesn't have cannons in the natural or the main. The main is looking so exposed. If JimRising can keep these hidden, it's going to be ideal. We do have 1 cannon here at the third. Blink Stalkers are here at the third location as well. Mutas are going to be able to barely bypass this army, but it looks like Pacomike wants to push in towards the third of JimRising as well. Oh, as the armies do miss each other, who can deal more damage? Pacomike can kill a base. JimRising can kill a mineral line. That's a scary thing. Like this is a scary army right now for Pacomike. As he finally does reveal himself. There we go. He blinks on forward. The hatchery is going to go down at the same time. Mutas do get into the main base. And every single probe is going to go down as well. Oh my god. Oof. There we go, the mutas, they finish up in the main, they go straight for the natural base as well. Jim is being so active with his mutas, he's even going to dive on top of these stalkers. Meanwhile, Roach Ravagers being banked up back at home. Is it going to be enough to hold on? Is Pacomike going to keep pushing? Is he going to go for the base trade? Oh, as he's losing everything back at home, he goes for the recall instead. The recall at the third, question mark? It's going to take even longer. It wasn't worth it. 34 probes go down. Honestly, I think Pacomike may have been able to break into the natural. I don't think this ground army from JimRising would have been enough to stop him. So maybe a miscalculation there for Pacomike. It's understandable though, like he wanted to hold on to his bases. He didn't want to be forced all in, but that may have been like potentially a winning move for him. Oh, as the ground army of JimRising avoids the ground army of Pacomike. Oh my god. Mutas do get caught out. 4, 5 mutas go down. But the lings get in. Uh-oh. We're going for another base trade. This time Pacomike cannot recall. He turns around. Again, I don't think this is the right move, Pacomike. He's stuck on one base economy. And JimRising is okay with this. Seven roaches and 5 ravagers, mate. That was the ground army, and lings, to be fair, but that was the ground army of Jim. Oh, the production is being dealt with. The mutas dive into the natural base. Pacomike is getting pulled apart. Like, he can't keep up. It's not happening. It's not working. And with the power of Muta, JimRising is actually doing it. It's insane. No, the immortals are exposed. Thankfully, the mutas, they do not see. They do not notice. It's all good. It's all good. Another blink on board here. But every time, the mutas will kill all these stalkers, and JimRising, he knows that. Oh my god. More stalkers going down. These are stalkers that Pacomike, he can't replace. His production, okay, it is now repowered. Oh my god, but JimRising, he knows what he can afford to lose and what Pacomike can't afford to lose. Ay. He backs off. Here comes the Ling Ravager, and with everything united, with everything working together, GG gets called. JimRising is going to take game number 2 and the series. That's the wrong button. GG, well played. Congratulations, JimRising. 2 games in a row. Mutas working wonders for him, especially in this game. Forcing Pacomike in an awkward position. Forcing a base trade. Clearly a base trade that Pacomike didn't believe in. He didn't believe his chances were real, so he recalled instead. And we can see everything, so we know that that was a mistake from Pacomike. But Pacomike didn't know that. He didn't know the kind of army that JimRising had waiting for him. He didn't know what was waiting on top of that ramp at the natural base. So JimRising was able to kind of bluff himself a little bit and come out on top. GG, well played. Oof. And that means we are going to have a Ryu versus JimRising Grand Finals. But before we get to the Grand Finals, we have a raffle.